Hello everyone, welcome to Competition Edge. I am Parini Sharma. In the last chapter, we covered the rise of Buddhism and Jainism. Today, we will start with another very important topic from the competitive exams purpose, which is the Maurya Empire that existed from 324 BCE to 187 BCE. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक हो जाता है क्योंकि हर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में इसमें से क्वेश्चंस आते ही हैं. So, without wasting time, let's get started. What are we going to learn in this video? First of all, the sources of the Mauryan Empire, its geographical extent, who were the rulers of this dynasty, and the administrative, economic and social structure of the Mauryas. Starting with the sources first, Arthashastra, written by Kautilya, who is also identified as Chanakya, is an important source of this time. It is the first Indian text to define the concept of a state. राज्य कैसा होना चाहिए, इसका ज्ञान पहली बार अर्थशास्त्र से मिलता है. It is an excellent explanation of the political and economic structure of this time. Another important source is the book Indica, written by Megasthenes. Megasthenes was the ambassador of the Greek king Seleucus Nicator in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. This book is based on his travels and experiences in India. भारत में उसके अनुभवों पर आधारित है Indica. Then there are Buddhist texts. These specifically tell about Emperor Ashoka. Another important source are the Ashokan inscriptions. अशोक के शिलालेख. Just remember that mostly these inscriptions are written in Prakrit language, in the Brahmi script. But the inscriptions in the northwest of India are written in the Kharoshthi script. To its geographical extent, it covered almost the entire Indian subcontinent, यानी लगभग पूरा भारतीय उपमहाद्वीप, from Kandhar, that is present-day Afghanistan in the northwest, to almost the Tamil Nadu and Kerala of today in the south, leaving just some parts of South India and some parts of northeast. Its capital was Patliputra in Magad, which also shows that from now onwards, Magad became the center of power in India. The founder of the Maurya dynasty was Chandragupta Maurya, who ruled from 324 BCE to 297 BCE. He was succeeded by his son Bindusar, who ruled from 297 BCE to 273 BCE. Bindusar was succeeded by his son Ashok, who ruled from 273 BCE to 232 BCE and went on to become one of the most famous emperors who have ever ruled India. Ashoka's successors can be collectively called later Mauryas, who ruled from 232 BCE to 187 BCE, after which the Maurya Empire declined. Now, what did Chandragupta Maurya do? We have covered the dynasties which preceded the Mauryas in the 16 Mahajanapad video. Chandragupta Maurya became the king of Magad after defeating the last ruler of the Nanda dynasty, that is Dhananand. And this he did with the help of his teacher Chanakya. His biggest achievement was that he turned Magad from a state to an empire and thus laid the foundations of the first empire in the history of India. Now, what is the difference between a state and an empire? First of all, a state is a single political unit. राज्य एक सिंगल राजनीतिक इकाई होते हैं with a limited area under its control, जिसके पास एक सीमित क्षेत्रफल होता है. A state turns into an empire when it takes control of the territories and political units of other states as well. राज्य साम्राज्य कहलाता है जब वो दूसरे राज्यों का क्षेत्र और राजनीति भी अपने अधिकार में ले लेता है. Chandragupta Maurya is also known to have signed treaties with the Greeks. Now, this has a background of the Greek invasions. See, Alexander या Sikandar invaded India in 326 BCE, but he was given a tough fight by the ruler of the northwest India named Porus. So he was unable to reach into India beyond river Jhelum in the northwest. So he left the regions which he captured under the rule of his general Seleucus Nicator. Chandragupta Maurya came into treaty with Seleucus Nicator. Diogenes, who wrote Indica, was the ambassador of this Seleucus Nicator in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He was initiated into Jainism by a Jain Muni named Bhadrabahu. जैन मुनि भद्रबाहु ने इनको जैन धर्म की शिक्षा दी थी एंड ही डाइड इन कर्नाटका's श्रवणबेलगोला एज पर द जैन ट्रेडिशन ऑफ संथारा. तो आपको ये भी बताते चलें कि संथारा एक जैन ट्रेडिशन है मृत्यु तक अन्न और जल त्याग देने का, दैट इज फास्टिंग अनटू डेथ. This practice has been in use from time to time and therefore can be asked in any competitive exam under the art and culture head. After his death, he was succeeded by his son Bindusar. Chandragupta's son Bindusar is known for the expansion of the empire in the Deccan. Like Chandragupta, he also maintained good ties with the Greeks. Ab, unlike his father, Bindusar became the patron of the Ajivika sect. Chandragupta Maurya was associated with Jainism. Bindusar came to be associated with Ajivika sect. We have already covered Ajivikas in the Rise of Buddhism and Jainism chapter. Then Bindusar was succeeded by his son Ashoka. Let's now see what is the concept of the Saptanga Rajya mentioned in the अर्थशास्त्र. See, अर्थशास्त्र किसी भी साम्राज्य के लिए 7 अंग that is 7 parts of an empire मेंशन करती है जिसके बिना कोई भी राज्य नहीं चल सकता. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अ स्वामी और अ किंग. किंग ही रूल करेगा किसी भी राज्य पर. सेकेंड, अमात्यास और हाई रैंक्ड ऑफिसर्स. किंग अकेला तो रूल नहीं कर सकता, असिस्ट करने के लिए ऑफिसर्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी. देन दुर्ग, दैट इज इट शुड हैव अ फोर्टिफाइड कैपिटल. दंड, दैट इज जस्टिस. फिफ्थ इज मित्र, फ्रेंड्स और अलाइज. किसी भी राज्य के लिए मित्र होना बहुत आवश्यक है. सिक्स्थ इज जनपद और अ टेरिटरी. टेरिटरी नहीं होगी तो किंग रूल किस पे करेगा. एंड सेवेंथ इज कोष और ट्रेजरी. अगर राज्य के पास पैसा ही नहीं होगा तो मैनेजमेंट कैसे होगा. नाउ देयर इज अ डिबेट अमंगस्ट हिस्टोरियंस द नेचर ऑफ सेंट्रलाइजेशन, दैट इज हाउ सेंट्रलाइज्ड वाज द मौर्य एम्पायर. कितना केंद्रीकृत था. बट इट कैन बी सेफली सेड दैट द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन वाज डिवाइडेड इनटू सेंट्रल, प्रोविंशियल and local administration. So let's see how similar was the Mauryan Empire to the concept of the Saptanga Rajya. Starting with the central administration, the Mauryan state was a monarchy with a powerful king at its center. Arthashastra also states the duties and obligations of the king. It says that a king should be like a father to his subjects. The central administration also included the Amatyas, who were high-ranked officers, which is equivalent to today's secretaries. Then there were Adhyaksh, who were heads of various departments. A new term is also introduced here, that is the Mantrin, which came to be associated with king's internal advisors and counselors, यानी राजा के मुख्य सलाहकार. Their consultative bodies were called मंत्री परिषद. Another important component of the Saptang Rajya is Durg, that is a fortified capital. So Patliputra was a fortified capital. Arthashastra also mentions the importance of a well-trained military to protect the empire, especially the capital. And the Mauryan military was divided into four categories. First of all, the infantry, Paidal Sainik, cavalry, Ghudsavar, chariots, Rath Savar, and a unit of elephants, जो हाथी पर चढ़कर लड़ते थे. The chief of the military was called Senapati. Now it is interesting to know that Kautilya does not mention any kind of navy, but Megasthenes do. अब एक और इंटरेस्टिंग बात जो अर्थशास्त्र में है वो ये कि अर्थशास्त्र रेकमेंड करती है कि सेना में चारों वर्ग के लोग होने चाहिए, सिर्फ क्षत्रिय नहीं. आर्मी शुड बी रिक्रूटेड फ्रॉम ऑल फोर वर्णास एज पर दी अर्थशास्त्र. द फोर्थ इंपॉर्टेंट कॉम्पोनेंट इज द दंड और द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ जस्टिस, न्याय व्यवस्था. जजेस वर कॉल्ड धर्मस्थ and the nature of punishment depended on the nature of crime and ranged from fines to death. अपराधियों को पकड़ने के लिए पुलिस व्यवस्था भी है जिन्हें रक्षिन कहा जाता था. Then comes the मित्र. अब स्टेट है तो एलाइज भी होंगे और एनिमीज भी होंगे. तो इसके लिए अर्थशास्त्र मेंशंस द पॉलिसी ऑफ संधि, विग्रह एंड आसन्न. Sandhi is the policy which should be adopted when one is weaker than the enemy. Sandhi means to make a peace treaty. Then if one is stronger than the enemy, then the policy of Vigraha, that is hostility, should be followed. And if one's power is equal to that of the enemy, then it is a good idea to follow the policy of Asana, that is to keep quiet. Let's move to the provincial administration now. The Maurya Empire was divided into provinces which were administered by the governors who were known as the Rashtriyapals. To see these provinces, let's have a look at the map once again. The first province was the Uttarpath or the northern province, which had its capital at Takshashila. Then the southern province or the Dakshinpath had its capital at Suvarnagiri. The western province, that is Avanti Desh, had its capital at Ujjain, and the central and the eastern province known as Madhya Desh was ruled from Patliputra. The fifth province, that is Kalinga, was included in the empire by Emperor Ashoka and its capital was at Toshali. Ashoka is supposed to have been the governor of Ujjain, that is the western province, before he became the king. These provinces were further divided into local administrative units which consisted of Ahar, which is equivalent to modern day districts, and was governed by an officer named Pradeshika. Then came the Samgraha, which was a collection of 10 villages, and it came under an officer named Gopa. And the smallest unit of administration was a Gram, that is a village. And these villages were governed by Gramika. अर्थशास्त्र के सप्तंग राज्य का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है कोश, दैट इज द ट्रेजरी ऑफ द स्टेट, which brings us to the Mauryan economy. The treasury officers were called Yukta. Now, land was the most important source of revenue. There were private properties, but a major portion of land came under the state directly. Officer in charge of the land was called Sita Adhyaksh. The word Sita itself means bhumi or land. So the officer who was in charge of the state land was Sita Adhyaksh. Then there were Rajukas who were the officers of land management. Forests and mines were also under state control, and the officer in charge of the mines was called Akar Adhyaksh. एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस यानी कृषि उत्पाद पर भी टैक्स लगता था, विच वॉज कॉल्ड भाग, विच यूज टू बी 1/4 to 1/6 ऑफ द एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस. अब यहां पर एक वर्ड सेतुबंध मेंशन होता है, which shows that the state was providing irrigation facilities to its farmers. सिंचाई व्यवस्था राज्य की तरफ से की जाती थी, और इसका एक एग्जाम्पल है सुदर्शन लेक, which was an artificial lake built by Chandragupta Maurya in Gujarat to help the farmers. Then comes the Shulk. Shulk was an urban tax. Shulk were the duties put on import and export, that is, on trade, आयात और निर्यात कर, as well as on the manufactured goods. Also, there is mention of strict control over market and trade. The important officers which are mentioned are Pandyadhyaksh, who was officer in charge of trade and price fixation. Then Sanstha Adhyaksh, who was the superintendent of markets. And Potava Adhyaksh, who was the superintendent of weights and measures. The Shastra says that there should be control over merchant guilds. Merchant guilds are the association of traders. व्यापारियों के संगठन को कहा जाता है मर्चेंट गिल्ड्स. So as per the अर्थशास्त्र, these were to be kept under strict controls to prevent hoarding and profiteering. जमाखोरी और मुनाफाखोरी से बचने के लिए व्यापारियों के ऊपर स्ट्रिक्ट कंट्रोल होना जरूरी है. Then, as we all know that trade also took place via sea routes, the two major ports of the Mauryan Empire were the Bharuch port at the western coast of India and Tamralipti at the eastern coast of India. The officer in charge of the ships was called Navadhyaksh. Finally, let's come to the Mauryan society now. We have already seen in the previous chapter that apart from the Sanatan or the Vedic system, multiple sects such as Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivika, etc. also emerged, and all of them were coexisting with each other at the same time. ये इससे भी पता चलता है कि एक ही डायनेस्टी के 3 रूलर्स, जिसमें चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य became a Jain, Bindusar came to be associated with Ajivikas, and Ashoka became a patron of Buddhism. So even if there were differences, they were largely tolerant of each other. The Varna system, the system of Brahmadeya, that is giving Brahmins tax-free land as a dan, and the concept of Stridhan continued just like the early times. All these 3 concepts have been covered in the previous videos. One interesting thing here is that Arthashastra mentions the presence of Das and Dasis, that is, the slaves. But Megasthenes in Indica says that there was absolutely no slavery in India. But there was certainly prevalence of untouchability, because there is mention of Chandals, which was an untouchable class in the Arthashastra. Another thing to note here is that we all know that the Indian society was divided into 4 Varnas, but Megasthenes has divided the society into 7 classes, which were the philosophers, the farmers, the herdsmen, matlab maveshi palak, the artisans, the soldiers, the overseers या निरीक्षक, and the counselors, salahakar. But this division of Megasthenes seems to be more based on occupations rather than classes. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Here we have seen the political, economic and social structure of the Mauryan Empire. We will continue with the same chapter in part 2 as well. If you have any doubts regarding the topic, Please ask them in the comment section. And if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.